Hi, this is Rod Arroyo. You can find me on Twitter at mycityphotos. You can also find me at portraitsbyrod.com. Okay, we're going to take a look at Lightroom 5 today. It's a new release. There's some new features. We want to talk about some of those and just do a real quick overview. This is not an in-depth tutorial. It's just want to hit some of the highlights. We're going to start off with this image of the beautiful Tess. We want to start off because we want to do a comparison. We're going to right click on here. We're going to create a virtual copy, and we're going to work with that virtual copy so that we can compare what we do with what we started with. So let's go ahead and go into the develop module. We want to start off by doing some work here to correct the white balance. So we pick our white balance dropper. We're going to click on the eye. We need to do a little cropping. We have some wires up here that aren't very attractive. I'm going to straighten this up a little bit and crop. Okay, now we have something a little bit better to work with. So one of the things we want to do is to, let's go ahead and utilize one of the new features before we get too far. Let's go back to library for a second. If we hit F, it's going to give us a full screen view. Really nice way to see the true impact of the image as you're working with it. Hit F again to go away. We're going to go back into the develop module. We're going to start off because the healing brush is substantially improved. You can click back and forth here between heal and clone using healing. Down at the bottom bar here we have the ability to click this box called visualize spots. We want to do that. We have some sensor dust that we've got to get cleaned up on our camera, but since we can't go back and do that in time, we're going to go ahead and clean it up here. So we've gone ahead and done that. If this were a bigger spot, we could just come right along and drag if we'd like, because that's one of the nice things about the new healing brush. You have the ability to now drag it. You don't have to work in circles. Okay, we've got a couple little spots here we're going to work with. Got another one here. And you may want to choose whether or not you want to work in this mode or not. Let's go ahead and turn it back off. Let's take a look at what we had. Did a pretty nice job. We've cleaned up a couple of spots, and we now have a better image to work with. Okay, let's go ahead and crank down our exposure just a little bit. It's a little too hot for my eye. I get a little too much overexposure. Another thing we can do is the gradient tool also has flexibility. Instead of just drawing a circle, we can draw an ellipse, and we can drag it down. In this particular instance, it was set to clarity, so we might crank that back down because what it's doing, unless we invert it, is affecting the area outside of this ellipse. So we're just going to crank that back up. What we want to do is bring the exposure down a little bit. Get a little vignette effect to kind of focus on our model in the center. Helps to make the image pop a little bit. Boom, there we go. Like that a lot. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. I want to go back to this advanced healing brush tool because, well, you have a hair ever so slightly here. She has great complexion. We don't have a whole lot we have to worry about, but we can just drag over that hair, make sure it's matching in a good location, and we've just taken care of that spot. We got a little spot here. If we wanted to get rid of it, we could. That's now gone. Another little spot here. If we wanted to get rid of it, it's also gone. So now we have a much improved. Now another thing you can do that's not typically all that useful for portraits, but it's really great for architectural photography, is you can go down here under lens correction, and you now have this upright feature which lets you click, and you might get some, you get a couple little adjustments that it might make with this image, but it really isn't going to be that effective unless you are using it with an architectural image. But it helps to straighten the buildings up, to get those lines parallel and in the right perspective. So it's a great tool to work with. So we're going to go back up. One of the things it did when we adjusted the levels is it took our cropping away. So we can just go up here and go undo perspective, and do undo again. Of course, we can always just hit Control Z to get rid of that, and that gets us back to our original crop. And if we want to take a look at that, once again, we hit F. We get a full screen image. Looks great. Hit F again, then we can go back and take a look at our original image and compare it. Hit F. There's the original image, not so great, but had a lot of potential, and we've cleaned it up. I hope you really enjoy working with Lightroom 5. There's a lot more you can do with it. This is just a brief introduction. Have a lot of fun, and come back and check with us for another update on Twitter, My City Photos. This is Rod Arroyo. Thank you.